Welcome back to Late Night Reading Hour. We've been away, but we've been reading, of course. And something I finished a while ago that I really fell in love with was House of Leaves by Mark Z. Danielewski. Forgive me for any mispronunciations. Ooh, I circled this book for a long, long time. I see it different places, hear people who talk about it, and finally saw it on my friend's bookshelf and said, "Oh, can I borrow that book?" And they said yes, and I still have it here with me today. That was a little while ago. It's in good condition, and I will return it and get my own copy. But for now, I just wanted to share a little bit about it, a little bit about how I feel about it, just tiny little bit from it. So I think that my hesitation for getting into this book, why it took me so long, and I mean probably years, to crack it open it's just shrouded in this veil of intimidation and difficulty. And I think the message that I was getting from that, the message that I think a lot of people get is, you're too stupid. You're too stupid to read this book. You're not going to understand it. So I decided to just be stupid and walk into this darkness, if you will. And in a really funny way, I think that was the best way to go about things. So I didn't really want to interact with anything other than what the writing was telling me, and if I didn't understand something, I didn't understand something. And you know what? I don't think there's much you can understand. We have lots and lots of instances of omission and mistakes and all sorts of things in here, which makes me think a lot about the way that language works. When I was a kid, I had to read the Bible a lot, and think that's something that definitely primed me for reading things that I didn't understand. But the Tower of Babel was an interesting moment, because it was always explained to me that it was an event where everybody's language got switched up, right? And to me as a kid, and I think to a lot of people, that just meant the language that you are talking, right? But I think there's a lot more to it, where even if you're speaking the same language, we are still so unable to understand each other in so many ways. And so I like to think about that instance as just the misunderstanding being introduced into the world. So we have all of these different forms of words, of communication. Within this book, we've got diaries, we've got videos, we've got transcripts, we've got interviews, we've got very academic lengths of text, portions of poetry, music, and it's so wonderful that even though we have all of this information in here, I'm still left with this feeling, this deep, deep sense of not knowing, of not being able to know. And I think that's what's truly frightening, right, about the writing. It's not really the scary things that happen. It's this existential feeling, for me anyway. And reading this book, I'm encountering ideas of intimacy and ideas of isolation, and how both of those things are used as a cure for the other, right? We don't want to be isolated, so we are intimate. We don't want to be intimate, so we isolate. But at the very end of these two extremes, I'm left thinking that we can't really be either, and that we're caught in this, well, maze, if you will, between the two of these things. Never being really fully able to connect. And that might just be me reading into things, but it's definitely something that I pulled out. One other thing, many things that I've enjoyed about this book. So if you're thinking about reading it, I will share with you one thing, is that this book does tell you how to read it. And when I came across the passage where I found that out, I think I must have made some kind of sound, because I thought, it's so wonderful and refreshing, and really felt like there was a personality in there. So we have this motif in here of the labyrinth. We're coming back to the labyrinth, and it tells you how to walk through how you walk through a labyrinth, which I had no idea, and I was even suspicious about how I'm instructed to walk through a labyrinth from this book until I tried it after I read it and successfully walked out of a maze. But if you keep one hand to a wall, never taking it off, and walk the entire length of the maze, you will get out of the labyrinth. You will also explore the entire thing. Which makes me wonder, is the point of a maze to get out of it? Is it to get out of it, or is it to explore the whole thing? And in that way, I took that information and I read every single word. We're just going to read every single word, and we're going to take it sometimes a page a day. And then we get out of it, and I ran out of words, and I was out of the labyrinth, and I was kind of sad to have escaped it. So I'll re-enter this at some point soon. I'll probably pick it up again right after I post this video. But get into this book. It's going to defy conversation, and it's going to defy being an audiobook. It's something that you will need to pick up and experience just by yourself. And I think you'll find it's truly a beautiful thing if you have the patience. So I want to read just one tiny bit. This is, I'm not going to give any context, and I obviously am not the writer or owner of this work, but I really want to read this part, so I'm going to anyway. All right. A monk joins an abbey ready to dedicate his life to copying ancient books by hand. After the first day, though, he reports to the head priest. He's concerned that all the monks have been copying from copies made from still more copies. If someone makes a mistake, he points out, it would be impossible to detect. Even worse, the error could continue to be made. A bit startled, the priest decides that he better check their latest effort against the original, which is kept in a vault beneath the abbey, a place only he has access to. Well, 2 days, then 3 days pass without the priest resurfacing. Finally, the new monk decides to see if the old guy's all right. When he gets down there, though, he discovers the priest hunched over both a newly copied book and the ancient original text. He is sobbing, and by the looks of things has been sobbing for a long time. "Father?" the monk whispers. "Oh, Lord Jesus," the priest wails. "The word is celebrate." And I'll leave you with that. I think the cat's trying to get in the window. As always, thanks for joining me, and enjoy reading.